Good afternoon, and welcome once again to Akwaaba Yoga. Whether you're watching it live or on playback, it's great to be practicing again with yourselves. My name is Mark, afternoon D-man, and it's not so cold today. I'm not sure if you went out for a run already, but congrats on your run from last week. But yeah, we're going to be going through a 45-minute session. It'll be a flow that will aim to keep the pace up. And I'll be calling out the different asanas. And I think because a lot of us are quite familiar with them now, we'll aim just by doing that just to keep the movement and the pace up before coming to a deeper stretch towards the end. But yeah, let's get cracking. The time now is it's 12:30. How shall we start? Let's start in a seated position. I'm going to come into a block. You can either come onto your shins or just come cross-legged. We're going to just come into our breath. I really invite anyone that's practicing today to use this opportunity to, I guess, find yourself really becoming present before we come into the flow. So we're coming into stillness. Sit with a nice long spine. Good afternoon, Lydia. Lovely to have you with us today. Let's place our hands in our laps. So roll the shoulders back so it helps to sit us up tall. I invite you to close your eyes. Just start to become aware of your natural breath. The gentle inhale and exhaling. The pranayama, the life force, the energy force that maintains us. And if you want to discover any more about the power of the breath, I invite you to check out Becoming Evermore on Instagram. It's run by Lydia. There's a lot that we can do once we become aware of our breath and really start to breathe with intention, to use our breath to explore our emotions, to derive new energy. If you're able to, if you don't have a cold today, if you haven't got a blocked nose, maybe start to come into Ujjayi breathing. So with our Ujjayi breath, that's the breath that will enable us to flow for the next 40 minutes or so. It's a calming breath. Let's come to our Ujjayi. We're inhaling in through the nose and bringing a slight restriction to the back of the throat and exhaling out through the nose. For those of us who always seem to be busy or running around, just sitting with stillness and silence is sometimes the biggest challenge and frustration. Just embrace any frustrations that might be coming up through the lack of movements and just sit through it and come out the other end. Just appreciate the opportunity you're giving yourself to just slow down. Maybe for another 5 seconds or so. full use of the diaphragm as you take the breath deep into the belly. So feel your ribs expanding on the inhale. Start to blink open the eyes. Let's turn and face the front of the mat. We're going to come into our tabletop. And start to find some undulations for the back. So let's come into cat and cow. So inhale to look up. Tailbone goes high. Exhale to round in the upper back. Let's take our gaze to our navel. Let's go through 3 more of these at our own pace. Inhale to look up. Exhale to round. So round, draw that navel to the spine. Let's all meet once again in our neutral position. Step back with the left foot so high on the left toes. I'm going to start to open up to the left side of the room, lifting the left hand up towards the ceiling, taking the gaze up towards the left hand, or the gaze down towards the floor. And let's switch. Just place that left hand back down, left knee goes down, and take the opposite side. Right leg lengthens behind the right toes. On the inhale, drawing that right arm up towards the ceiling. Again, taking our gaze up towards the right hand, or just let the head hang loose, relax in the neck. And let's release back down to the ground. In our tabletop, we're going to turn our hands. So now our fingers are pointed towards the back of the room. So turn our hands outwards so the fingers are pointing back. Our wrists are facing forwards, and just start to maneuver the body forwards and back. So we've got forwards and come back. And as we come back, we're just stretching out through the wrists, in the forearms. Maybe as we come back, we're just holding it here, holding the stretch. And then relax to come back forward. Find ourselves once again on our tabletop. Let's curl the toes on, then lift up and come straight into our downward facing dog. Sort of high on the toes and start to draw the heels down. Maybe start to walk out through the feet. As we start to come into our calf muscles, really use our hands at the front of the mat to press down to help us come a bit more into the stretch. Gaze towards the back of the mat. On the inhale, we'll come up high on our toes, and on the exhale, again, draw the heels energetically down towards the mat and come into stillness. Rolling the shoulders away from the ears. Draw the tailbone up towards the ceiling. On the next breath, let's walk the hands back towards the feet. So hands are coming towards the feet. We're at the back of our mat. And we're meeting our forward fold. Let's just sway from side to side, maybe keeping a bend in the knees. Perhaps we can start to feel ourselves coming into our hamstrings a little bit here. And just come to stillness. We'll take halfway lift. Inhale to gaze up, long in the neck, long in the back. Exhale to release. And again, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Halfway lift. Exhale, release. Bend into the knees. Let's place the hands back down onto the mat. Let's walk the hands forward. And come back into our downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale in. And sigh out. On the inhale, coming high on our toes, and this time we're jumping or stepping towards the front of the mat. Once again, meeting in our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift.
Exhale, soften to release. Halfway lift once more. Exhale, release. On the inhale, sweep up. So we're long in the body, the arms are facing up, the fingertips are trying to touch the ceiling, and on the exhale, let's draw our prayer towards the center of our chest. And let's go on inhale, let's take the prayer up towards the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold, bend it from the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale to go high. Exhale, prayer draws towards the center of the chest. And again, inhale up. Exhale to bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Let's sweep the arms up towards the ceiling, bend into the knees, get nice and tall. Exhale, hands into prayer at the center of our chest. And again, prayer goes high. Exhale, bend from the hips to come all the way down. Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Pressing our hands towards our shins. Exhale, soften to release. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, draw the navel towards the spine. Let's bring our prayer towards the center of our chest. And again, inhale to go high. Exhale to bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend into the knees. Let's place our hands at the front of the mat. Let's step the left foot back and the right as we meet in our first high plank, Kumbhakasana. Or high on the toes at the back. Let's rock forwards onto the toes, drop onto the knees together. Uncurl the toes and bend into the elbows as we come all the way down, bringing our chest down towards the mat. So press our hands into the mat. Draw the elbows in towards the ribs as we press up into a cobra. Inhale to come up. Exhale, lift up the hips. Let's walk the hands back and come into our balasana, our child's pose. As we draw the breath in, let's feel our bellies pressing against our thighs. And exhale to release. On the next inhale, let's come up into our tabletop. We're going to curl our toes under, press our hands into the mat as we all meet in our downward facing dog. If child's pose is calling you today, feel free to stay in child's pose for as long as you may desire, you need. Otherwise, from downward facing dog, on the inhale, let's come up high on the toes. Together, let's jump a step and meet at the front of the mat in our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale to go high with the body, take the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, draw the prayer through the chest, let's come all the way down, bend from the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend into the knees, place the hands down, step the left foot back and the right foot as we meet once again in our high plank. We're rocking forwards onto the toes. Together, let's drop down onto the knees, uncurl the toes, bend into the elbows to bring the chest all the way down once again. Keep the hands where they are. Again, we're drawing our elbows in. On the inner, we're pressing up into a cobra. Nice stretch to the lower back. On the exhale, lift up through the hips. Walk the hands back. And meet them once again in our child's pose. Inhale in. And release. On the next inhale, we're coming up into our tabletop. This is the last time we're curling the toes under, lifting up the knees as we meet in our downward facing dog. Deep breath in here. And exhale as we soften. Let's come up high on the toes And let's jump or step once again. Together we meet at the front of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, soften to release, forward fold. On the inhale, we'll come and hide the body once again. Swooping the arms up, taking our gaze in between the hands towards the ceiling. Exhale, we'll bend from the hips, drawing our prayer all the way through as we come down, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Longer the arms, the back, the neck. Looking beyond the front of the mat. Exhale, bend into the knees, placing the hands down. And again, we step back. Left foot comes back, right foot comes back as we meet in our high plank. Let's rock forwards onto the toes. Drop down to the knees. Uncurl the toes again. We're coming down, bend into the elbows, bringing the chest down. Pressing into the hands as you come up for our cobra. Bringing a nice stretch to the lower back here. Rolling the shoulders back. On the exhale, lift up through the hips. Walk the hands back. Balasana. Child's pose. Inhale in. And release. On the next inhale, let's come up into our tabletop. We're curling the toes under once again. Pressing our hands into the mat. Lifting up through the knees. Downward facing dog. Inhale to come high on the toes. You know the score. We're going to step and jump forwards as we meet in our forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhale to come to a halfway lift. Exhale, soften to release. We're going to get ready for our chair pose. So on the inhale, swoop the arms up as we bend into the knees, taking the bum low. Let's take our anterior tilt of the pelvis. So we're drawing the hips forward, tucking our belly in. So we're drawing the navel towards the spine. Perhaps take the gaze up towards the front diagonal. Let's see if we can bend any further into the knees. We're holding here for 3, for 2, for 1. Take a dive forward, Uttanasana. Let's come to our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend into the knees. Let's place our hands down. We're stepping just the left foot back this time. So first the left heel goes towards the left buttock. And step it all the way to the back of the mat. Land on the left toes, drop onto the left knee. Let's get ready for low lunge. So curling the left toes. Once you feel grounded through the right foot at the front of the mat, let's lift up the torso and take the arms up towards the ceiling. So we can sink our hips a bit closer towards the ground as we're coming into a stretch into our left hip flexor here. Softening a bit further into that right knee. Get up. Abs are engaged as we protect our lower back. We don't want to just collapse into the lower back. We're nice and tall for the torso. For 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And on the exhale, let's bring the hands down towards the front of the mat. Let's get ready for our half splits. So we're going to walk the hands back, maybe shuffle the right foot forward until we can long in the right leg. So we're coming to the right heel. Just curl the right toes towards the face. Our hips are above our left knee. Just start to walk the hands forward if we can, but drawing our chest energetically towards that right shin. So we should start to feel a stretch coming into our right hamstring. On the next inhale, come up maybe onto the fingertips, regain that bend in that right knee. As the right sole of the foot comes down flat onto the mat again. Place now hands at the front of the mat, either side of the right foot. Curl the left toes under, lift up that left knee, and jump that left foot forward to meet the right at the front of the mat. Forward fold. Let's come into our halfway lift, hands on the shins. Exhale to release. On the next inhale, let's sweep up as we come into our chair pose once again. So arms comes up as the arm starts to sink down. Again, we're taking the anterior tilt of the pelvis and we're drawing the hips forward, engaging the core, drawing the navel towards the spine. We're holding it here for a count of 3, 2, 1. And on the exhale, let's dive forward, come to our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on the shins, lengthen up through the arms, rolling the shoulders back. On the exhale, let's bend as much as we need to into the knees, placing the hands down at the front of the mat. Feel grounded through that left foot. Let's lift up that right foot, taking the right heel towards the right buttock. And let's step in the right foot all the way back towards the back of the mat. We're landing on the right toes. We're dropping down onto that right knee and curling the right toes. So once we feel grounded through the left sole of the foot, let's start to lift the chest up off the left thigh as we get ready for our low lunge, our runner's lunge on this side. So now we're going for a stretch into the right hip flexor. So again, we're nice and tall through the torso, taking our arms out towards the ceiling. On each inhale, we're lengthening up. On each exhale, we're softening a bit deeper into that left knee, taking our hips a bit further or closer towards the mat. On the next breath, let's bring our hands down towards the front of the mat. Start to walk the hands back as we come up into our half splits on the left side. So our left heel bears the weight as we lift our foot up. Our toes are curling towards our face. And start to walk the hands forward once again. We're energetically drawing our chest towards that left shin as we find ourselves coming into our left hamstring. If we want to explore the hamstring stretch a bit further, let's engage the left quad, our left thigh. As we draw the muscle away from that left knee, helps us relax a bit further into the left hamstring. Here for another 2 breaths. One more breath. On next inhale, maybe come up high into the fingertips. Let's take a bend into that left knee once again as we bring the left sole of the foot back down towards the mat. We're going to curl our right toes under at the back of the mat this time, lifting up off that right knee and jumping that right foot forward as we meet in our forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhale to come to a halfway lift. Exhale to release. On the next inhale, we'll go long in the body, taking our arms up towards the ceiling, so really trying to breathe beyond the fingers here. Our gaze is up in between the hands, and on the exhale, let's draw the prayer towards the center of the chest. Let's bring the arms down, either side of the body, facing the palms forward, so we're standing into Tadasana. Let's rolling the shoulders back, just drawing the chest forward, feel grounded between both of the feet, or grounded in our feet on the mat. I'm going to come into a balancing pose here. So let's take the weight into our left foot, and on the inhale, start to lift that right foot up off the mat, coming into a bend in that right knee. Maybe keep your palms facing forward or take your hands into prayer. Just explore your wobbles here. Let's engage with the core. Draw the left thigh up. So your left leg is nice and strong, like an oak tree. Maybe this is the balancing pose for us today. Or feel free to take your left hand on the outside of the right thigh. And start to take that right arm back as you open up the body towards the right side of the room. Either variation here for another 2 breaths. Another 1,
start to come back towards the front. Let's take our hands into prayer in the center of our chest. We slowly start to take that right leg back as we come into warrior three. So we're lengthening out that right leg towards the back of the room. You have a point for the toes, or have the right side of the foot pressing towards the back of the room. You have another 2 breaths. Either keep your hands in prayer, come to superhero pose, and start to bring that right foot down as we land in our warrior 2 legs. So the right foot is pointing out towards 2 o'clock, left foot is facing forward. So come to a bend in that left knee and start to draw the arms up. So left arm goes forward, the right arm goes towards the back of the room. So here we're exploring a opening through the hips as you take a external opening. On the next breath, start to lengthen that through that left leg. Now for me, we're going to come into Trikonasana, a triangle pose. I always like to reduce the gap between both feet. I'm going to shuffle the left foot back and the right foot a bit further forwards before coming back into triangle leg. So the left leg again is nice and long. As we gain or we take the arms, left arm is forward, right arm is back. Going to lean the body forward. So take that left hand towards the front of the room. When we can't get any further, just start to drop that left arm down so it sits inside of the right. So the left foot or the left shin. We can draw our right arm up towards the ceiling, or perhaps just place the right hand on the sacrum. Maybe just on the lower back here. So we open up the body towards the right side of the room in triangle pose. On the inhale, let's engage with the core to bring our bodies back up. Let's take that bend again in that left knee. So come into our warrior 2 before cartwheeling the hands down towards the front of the mat. Let's step the left foot to the back of the mat as we meet in our high plank. We're going to come into side plank here. So placing our right hand in the center of the mat. Maybe drop down to that right shin before bringing the left heel down and start to lift up through that left arm. As you take the modification, one variation of side plank. You want to explore and lengthen that through both legs. Again, take the weight into the right hand. As we stack the left leg on top of the right. Maybe taking the left arm up towards the ceiling. And let's cartwheel the hand down. As once again we meet in our high plank. What falls into the toes, drop down onto the knees, uncurl the toes, and let's take the chest all the way down towards the mat. Let's take our arms into a pillow. So place the right cheek on the arms. And just take a gaze over towards the left side of the room. Just come to a gentle stretch in the neck here. And lift up the head and take the other side. So take the left cheek down towards the arms as we look over towards the right side of the room. Let's bring our chin towards the mat now. We take our arms out into cactus arms, the palms facing down, or maybe take our arms into superhero pose, pointing towards the back of the room. We're going to start to come into locust pose. Let's bring the heels together. So rather than having the feet flopping out, we're drawing the heels together. And on the inhale, we're peeling the chest away from the floor. Lifting up through the arms. We're here for 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly come back down towards the mat. And again, locust. Let's start to peel the chin away, the chest, bringing the stretch into the lower back. It's really good if you have any lower back pain or sciatica. So come to locust for another 2, another 1. Come back down towards the floor. Let's take our hands back underneath the shoulders. Draw the elbows in towards the ribs. Let's press up into our cobra. On the inhale and on the exhale, lift up through the hips. Walk the hands back. Bring the bum down towards the heels as we come into child's pose. Deep inhale in and sigh out. On the next inhale, let's press up into our tabletop. Gonna curl the toes under, lift up through the knees. Gonna meet in our downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale in. Let's come high on the toes and let's jump or step forwards. And together we meet at the front of the mat. Inhale to come to halfway lift. Exhale, soften to release. Inhale, bend into the knees. Let's go long in the body. Exhale, shoot the arms up towards the ceiling. Again, breathing beyond the fingers. And on the exhale, draw in the prayer towards the center of our chest. Let's take the arms down. As we first come into Tadasana, the palms are facing forwards. Tadasana, mountain pose. Yes, lost myself for a second. Let's roll the shoulders back as we bring the chest forward. So this time we're taking a weight into our right foot. So feel as if your right foot is rooted into the ground. Draw the muscle away from the right knee. So nice and strong in that right leg. On the inhale, let's start to lift that left foot up. As you come into a bend in that left knee. And our first balancing pose here. So this might be our variation today. Or maybe take the right hand on the outside of the left thigh and start to open up towards the left side of the room as the left arm comes back. Hold it for another 2 breaths. One more breath. Let's come back towards center. Release the right hand from the left thigh. Either bring the hands into prayer. Place the arms either side of the body as we start to seesaw the body forward. So the chest is coming parallel to the floor. We flow that left leg back towards the back of the room. Come into our warrior 3. So get one nice and strong through that right leg. If we fall out, just feel free to come into this asana again at your own pace. When you're ready, let's drop down. Let's all meet in warrior 2. So the left leg is pointing out towards 10 o'clock. Right foot's pointing forward, taking a bend in that right knee. Feel free to take any modifications or adjustments. Again, we're taking an external rotation of the hips here. So opening up the hips on the inhale. Let's take the arms up. So the right arm is parallel to the floor, facing forwards. The left arm is back. Let's start to come into our focus by taking our drishti. Maybe taking our gaze over the right middle finger. Just come into our breath. On the next inhale, let's start to lengthen out through that right leg. And again, taking the adjustments, we're going to get ready for Trikonasana. I'm going to shuffle my right foot a bit further back and my left foot forward. It's a bit more comfortable for me, rather than being so wide. If you've adjusted, let's come back into warrior 2. Arms Lean the body forward, trying to touch the front of the room with the right hand before bringing that right hand down so it sits in just inside of that right foot, the right calf. Let's open up the body towards the left side of the room. Maybe taking the left hand up towards the ceiling, or placing the left hand on the lower back here, or wrapping it around the lower back. See if you can take the inside of your right thigh. Either variation works. If your right hand is down, you'll play with your balance and engage through your core. Maybe shoot that right arm forward towards the front of the room. On the next inhale, engage for the core as you come back up. Taking the right arm forward and retaking a bend in that right knee as we come into warrior two once again. And together, let's cartwheel the hands down towards the front of the mat. Come hard to the left toes and jump that right foot to meet the left foot at the back of the mat. And let's all meet in our Kumbhakasana, our high plank once again. Get ready for side plank here. So taking our left hand into the center of the mat. And for the first one, let's all drop onto the left shin. Drop onto the right heel. And on an inhale, we take that right arm up towards the ceiling. Follow the hand, the gaze. Or let your head hang loose as you look down towards the floor. On the inhale, maybe explore a second variation by lengthening out through that left leg. Stacking the right on top of the left. Either variation works and it's still side plank. When you're ready, let's all cartwheel the hands down towards the front of the mat as we meet once again in our high plank. Let's sort of force onto the toes, drop onto the knees, uncurl the toes and start to bend into the elbows and bring the chest back down. Again, just take your arms into a pillow and just rest your forehead on your arms here. Just let your feet flop out to the side. And get ready for locust pose. And once again, so you can keep your forehead on the arms here. Let's start to draw the heels back up towards one another. And on the inhale, we're lifting up through that left leg first, pointing the left toes towards the back of the room. We're engaged throughout that left leg. And on the exhale, start to bring that left leg down towards the mat. Let's switch sides with the right leg on the inhale. Point the toes back and start to lift up through the right foot, the right shin. The right knee lifts up and maybe the right thigh. And on the exhale, bring the right leg back down. Last one. Let's see if we can point both toes towards the back of the room. So you might just lift by 1 centimeter or 2 inches. Just go to your point of reference, your edge today. So together on the inhale, lift up through the toes as you start to lengthen up through both legs. And on the exhale, relax our legs back down towards the mat. Place our hands underneath our shoulders. Press up into our cobra. And on the exhale, lifting up through the hips, walking the hands back and meeting in our child's pose. If you lost your ujjayi, you want to come back into it, use this opportunity to come back into your breath. On the next inhale, let's press up into our tabletop. And gracefully, let's just start to come onto our bums, lengthen up through the legs at the front of the mat. Just shake out through the legs. Sitting high. Lengthen out through the back, rolling shoulders forward. Just take your hands into fists and just give a gentle massage to your thighs here. Let's come into a bend in that right knee. So placing the right side of the foot first of all, flat on the mat. And when you're ready, lifting up that right foot over the left. Getting ready for a twist over towards the right side of the room. So maybe using the crease of the elbow to wrap it around the front of the right knee. Or maybe perhaps just the left hand on the outside of the right thigh. Let's place our right hand behind our bodies. You might find that you're slouched in the upper back. Let's press our right hand into the floor so you go long in the back. On the inhale, we lengthen. On the exhale, we're twisting our bodies over towards the right side of the room, keeping our chin over the chest, just so we can maintain the integrity of the pose here. So we're twisting from the lower back here as opposed to just twisting from the neck. So inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist. Just really use the resistance and the drawing in of that right knee closer into the body to help us just twist a bit further over and release. Take the gaze forward and swap legs. So left knee comes in and then place that left foot up and over the right thigh. And using the crease of the right elbow or the right hand around the front of the left knee. We drop our left hand down. On the inhale, we sit up nice and tall. And on the exhale, we're twisting. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist. And the more you're able to draw your knee into your body, the more you can find yourself coming into a deep stretch. Starts to stretch out for your piriformis, maybe for your left glute, as well as coming into the twist. And relax. Take the gaze back forward. Let's go long in the legs. Take our arms either side of the body and start to slowly bring the back down towards the mat. Engage for the core. See if you can keep the legs down for as long as possible before bringing the head down, the back of the head, the arms either side of the body. We're going to come into bridge pose before we finish up. So just draw the knees up towards the ceiling, placing the soles of the feet flat on the mat. See if we can just brush the back of the heels. So just use both hands to gently brush the back of the heels. Our arms can be either side of the body, perhaps facing up. Really feel as we're going to take the weight into our feet here. Engaging the glutes on the inhale, we're drawing our hips up towards the ceiling. And maybe just use your hands to make sure that the glutes are engaged. We're nicely protecting the lower back here. We're drawing our hips up towards the ceiling. Count to 3, 2, 1. Slowly wind down, upper back, middle back, lower back. Let's place our feet together. Our knees apart as we come into Supta Baddha Konasana. Let's come up for one more bridge. So on the inhale, placing our feet flat on the mat. On the next inhale, pressing our feet down. So draw the hips up towards the ceiling. Again, our glutes are nicely engaged. Keep the arms where they are. Maybe take an interlace of the hands underneath the bum. We have another 3, 2, 1. Slowly wind down. Just lengthen up through both legs. Let the feet flop out to the sides. Relaxing the arms and the shoulders. I invite you here to close your eyes. As we come into Shavasana, just embrace the opportunity to be still, as we did at the beginning of the session. Just release any thoughts. And I'll be helped by just taking one more deep breath in and sighing it all out. nice and relaxed. With the eyes closed, remaining here just for a few breaths. Just come back into your natural breathing, release your ujjayi and relax. Feel free to stay in Shavasana for as long as you may need, you may want. The purpose of our flow is to bring us to this point where we can embrace stillness and come into this meditative state. I will start to shake the head from left to right as we massage out through the back of the skull. Start to draw the knees in towards the chest. Let's take a final hug in before rocking up and coming into a seated position, either on the knees or come cross-legged, whichever takes your fancy. Again, before we just wrap up, I invite you again just to place your hands in your mat, sit up nice and tall through the spine. Take a deep breath in through the nose, all the way to the belly, and sigh it out through the mouth. Blink open the eyes if your eyes are closed. And thank you. All done. Done and dusted in 47 minutes. Thank you for showing up, whether it's on the live. Much appreciated. It's lovely to practice with you all. If you're watching it on playback, hope you found it beneficial and useful. As always, feel free to let me know any feedback. We're approaching the end of the year, approaching Christmas. So yeah, we're slowing down a little bit maybe, or maybe it's speeding up, maybe all still a bit hectic. But yeah, don't forget to take time out just to breathe, come to your breath, and move your body. Just find different ways to feel energized. It's a bit chaotic sometimes. But anyway, I'm gassing. Thanks again, Queen P. Much appreciated. And D-Man. You had Lydia, we've got Lydia on. So yeah, I've pointed out Lydia, if you haven't checked out one of her breath or breathing workshops, yeah, I encourage you to do so. I've done it, so I can vouch. It's an amazing experience, and you go a lot deeper than what we did or what we can do in a 45-minute flow session. But anyway, have a great Sunday, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Feel free to hit a like and a subscribe. That's what you're supposed to do. And yeah, have a great day, and I'll see you in the future. God bless. In a bit. Bye-bye. Oh, thank you, Alice. Lovely to see you again, Alice. And I'll see you during the week. Take care, guys.